The merfolk have some great proverbs for us to think about this Valentine's Day season, but unfortunately, I don't speak Elvish. What's going on, YouTube? It is literally Valentine's Day, which means we're in the Hollow City, inside a cold harbor, outside the plane of existence, because it is time to see what Zenil has for us. Now, we start off with a dwarven lamp. Now, you might be wondering, Jake, why are there creatures wrapped around? That's because the Reach folk have adorned it. Why did they raid a dwarven tomb to put scarecrows and things around it? I could not tell you, but they did the exact same thing with this lamp, but for some reason ran out of crow beaks. That's why you really shouldn't put so many on your first one. Now, you can also buy a half door. You last week could buy the full door that would swing open and close, but this week you can ball on a budget and only get half the door. And you can get a gigantic bowl of Nern Cruxes. Unfortunately, can't use those for crafting, but then if you wanted to, you could get the little Pound Town grinder and grind them down. You could also get the smaller one as well here too. You could get these roots, which by the way, these do move and are actually really cool to have in your house. You can get two different types of tentacles. If for some reason you're like, oh, I want tendril looking spiky bad boys in your house, can't go better. For 1,000 gold, you can buy this reeking totem. Then you can get this gigantic Nern Crux rock. And then you can get some more tendril, vine, tentacle things. Now, this is a week pretty decent. These tendrils I've actually purchased before for my house just because I think they look really cool. And I think overall, this is something that I would be interested in investing in. But if you're just looking at these for your own personal house, it's going to come down to you and your personal preferences. But pretty good week for the furnishings. And next up, we are inside of Cyrodiil, but we're also 40 subscribers away, which is reversed here for you, from our next subscriber goal. So please hit the like and subscribe button. But now, we're inside our Northern High Rock Gate because we need to go over the Golden Vendor and see if they've got anything good for us this week. And we start with Dune Ripper. Now, this comes from Vollenfell, and it gives you health, healing taken, and while you're bracing, your physical and spell resistance are increased by 5310. Now, this unfortunately has suffered a lot since power creep. Literally, fortified brass is a crafted set, and you will get almost equal value, and you don't have to be blocking. So this is an easy skip. Not worth investing into this necklace. Next up, we have Fjords. Now, Fjord is interesting because it comes from Eastmarch, so it's a base game zone, so you can buy this outright. And it gives you one of the most interesting 5-piece set bonuses. It reduces the cost and increases the movement speed bonus of Sprint by 15%. Now, this is good because it would stack with Major and Minor Expedition and all other ways you can boost your movement speed, but it's a movement speed set. So where were you going to put that? I also realized I forgot to give Dune Ripper a rating. Give it a 6. Fjords is unique because it's one of the best movement speed sets. So yeah, it's 10 out of 10 movement speed set. But if you're building a crafted, like, oh, I need to go pick up crafted material set, yeah, maybe you want to consider Fjords. You're not going to buy it in gold. You're not going to gold it out at all. But that doesn't mean that it's not a 10 out of 10 set, and I will not be putting this in the thumbnail as a 10 out of 10 set because then there would be pitchforks and riots in the comments. But if you're thinking to yourself, man, I really want to be faster like Sonic the Hedgehog. I need to go fast like every plot twist in The Flash. Every problem can be solved by speed. Then this set from Eastmarch could be for you, but just go buy it or farm it. Next up is Scathing Mage from Imperial City Prison. So maybe one that you might want to purchase because it could be really annoying to go farm. When you deal direct damage, you have a 20% chance to increase your weapon and spell damage by 516 for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. So this is very, very hard, nigh impossible to have 100% uptime on. But 516 weapon and spell damage is a lot. Clever Alchemist is one of the other more popular 500 weapon and spell damage sets, and its uptime is significantly worse. So when you look at a set like this, it's actually really good for PvP. Jake, why PvP and not PvE? It's because weapon and spell damage generally more seen as a PvP focused stat, whereas things like crit damage and things like that are more PvE focused. So you have a set like this and you're looking at it, okay, this is really good. Things that this set would be really good on are ones that can deal direct damage very quickly, like a Templar. So if you were to put this in its best utilization, which would be for PvP, probably on a Templar, I would say you're looking at maybe like a 9 out of 10 set. This is a great set. It is from the Imperial City Prison, so you could use Imperial City Fragments to go get it. You could farm the dungeon. Again, you get curated drops from dungeons. But if you wanted to skip out on having to get a specific drop from there, not a terrible investment, especially if you're like me and you have millions of AP across multiple characters, but probably a set that you're just going to go farm if you're really interested in it, or you're going to use other popular PvP alternatives like Rallying Cry, which is significantly cheaper and easier to get. Next up is from the Rift, which unfortunately nothing good comes from there, but when you use an ultimate ability, you heal for 61 and restore for 51 stamina and magicka per ultimate spent. So little cattywampus here. By the way, these numbers were doubled from their base game numbers, and it's still not good. So this is like a 6.0 set. You don't need to put a lot of time into this set, unfortunately. But next up, we got Bloodroot Forge, which is really annoying to do on Veteran. If any of you guys are support characters and you've tried to think to yourselves, man, I really want Earthgore, but the people that queue into that dungeon randomly are blind and deaf. Unfortunately, that's the average experience. Bloodroot Forge is very annoying to run, so buying a helmet could actually be pretty good. But what does this do? Well, it's one piece, 4% healing done, nothing special there. But when you heal yourself or a group member is under 50% health, you conjure a pool of blood beneath them. Don't worry, it'll help them. Immediately removing all harmful area effects and healing the lowest group member in the area for 2 seconds for 6486 health every 2 seconds, over 8 seconds. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds. So this is not like the universal support set that you're going to see, but oftentimes there will be situations where it's like, we need X support character to wear Earthgore for X situation that we're going to run into. So if you're a support character and you don't have friends to run one of the more annoying dungeons in ESO with, for 100,000 gold, 200,000 AP, probably a really good investment for you to get, especially if you got Alliance points. This is one of those sets that I do recommend that people just own because it's very good. And if you're ever interested in switching to specific types of content, again, support roles, one that you definitely just want to have, be able to use. And now people will ask, which version of it should you have? Generally, I think it's good to get as many versions of it as possible. Probably heavy or light, because you're probably still going to use and proc the Undaunted buff, where if you have one light, one medium, one heavy piece, you get a bonus to your total stats. So usually you're still building around that. It's usually nice to have a heavy helmet, because usually you can't wear a heavy chest piece as a sport character. But generally, not a whole lot of nuance and difference in that, but something to consider. Next up, from Runes of Mazatoon is Mighty Chuden, which gives you armor, health, and gain major resolve at all times. A really good combination of things to have, because usually to have major resolve, you're constantly having to click and clack some buttons. It's got uptime. You're going to have to keep using resources to expend it, and just having it passively can be really good, and that's reflected in its PvP-ness, where it's used very frequently. I would say of the monster sets that you see in Cyrodiil right now, Mighty Chuden is probably in the top 3 most common. It's a staple set. It's like Earthgore, it's a staple. Obviously, different types of content. Earthgore, support set. Mighty Chuden, PvP set. Not something you really need for PvE, for example, if you ask TC Lee, one of the best tanking resources for ESO, he would say that it's a waste of a 2-piece set for PvE tanking. So, not good for that. But we do have 2 staple monster sets in the store. I mean, you could say we have another staple set in store too, another 10 out of 10, and a 9 out of 10 set. I mean, if any of you guys think that these ratings are a little bit too generous, let me know. But these are really good passives and bonuses, especially for the monster sets. I generally recommend that you just own these sets, especially PvP, because this is just a great set to get into, because instead of having to press another button, like, for example, the Sorcerer can gain access to Major Resolve, but you have to keep an uptime on it, keep activating your abilities. So this is just something that you're going to have passively. So it makes it easier to have sets like this as a newer player, because generally, my suggestion whenever you get into PvP is have 2 offensive sets, 1 defensive set, and that defensive set could also be like a sustain set. I kind of include sustain with defense, because if you can sustain yourself by healing consistently and having resources and regeneration, pretty helpful. That's why Wretched Vitality is so popular, because it just lets you live for forever by being able to cast your abilities for forever. But thank you guys so much again for watching. This has been our Friday vendor reviews. These again last until Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was great to see you guys here. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Quickly, do the 3 giveaway drawings. Just like and comment on the video. Second thing is just make sure you're subscribed. Again, 40 subs away from our next goal. And the third thing is look for hidden word be flashed upon the screen. Have a great day out there. Stay safe, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.